Hey, hey, Disney fans, planners, and reluctant visitors. I'm Becky, and this is Touring Plans Teaches. This week, we've got Walt Disney World Touring Strategies, episode 301, so we've finally laid enough groundwork and looked at enough numbers to be able to go over some real-life touring strategies. And this week, we're going to start off pretty easy, but with something that's very timely, and that's going to be me convincing you that you need to visit the Magic Kingdom on special party dates. This is really counterintuitive because on party dates the Magic Kingdom closes early. And so this leads everyone to avoid Magic Kingdom and go to other parks instead, which is exactly why you should visit the Magic Kingdom on those days and take advantage of that empty park. You'll get more done in those shorter hours than you would on a medium or high crowd day, even if it has longer park hours. So we're going to talk about how you can approach that day, why you should take advantage of those low crowds, and we even have a special bonus guest appearance on today's episode. So let's get into the data. Let's start by looking at the data that's going to show us why we should go to the Magic Kingdom on these party dates. Now this year, the very first Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party was held on August 12th, which was a Friday. And we're going to look at that date, the day before it, and the day after it to see the impact that this party had on the crowds at Magic Kingdom. So if we look at this graph, for each of the four parks, the bar on the furthest left, it's the lightest in color, was August 11th. That was a Thursday. The bar in the middle is August 12th. That's the party day. And the bar on the right, the one that's darkest in color, is August 13th, the day after party day. So what's really most interesting is this leftmost set of columns. They represent the Magic Kingdom. And we see that on the 11th and on the 13th, the actual crowd level at Magic Kingdom on those days was a crowd level 5. This is average. These are your medium crowd level days at Magic Kingdom. This isn't unexpected for middle of August. It might be slightly higher than normal because usually people are starting to filter back into the school year. August 12th, though, very obviously stands out. The crowd level dropped down to a 1. And not just any 1, a low 1. This is something like the 20th least crowded day of the past calendar year. So there was very few people in the Magic Kingdom that day. Now, was this because generally just everyone avoided every park on August 12th? No, that's why we included the other parks here too. You can see at Epcot there was a slight dip in crowds. This tends to happen on Food and Wine Festival weekends at Epcot, so that's not unexpected either. But it didn't drop down to a 1. And at Hollywood Studios, crowd levels stayed high, and at Animal Kingdom, they did too. So it's not like this was a trend impacting every park, it's just Magic Kingdom. And it's because Magic Kingdom had much shorter hours on August 12th than it did on the 11th or the 13th. But the shorter hours were made up for by those low wait times. So let's take a look at the average posted wait times at some of the headliners at Magic Kingdom to help you get an idea of how this could impact your touring strategy and why you might actually want to go to Magic Kingdom on these low crowd days. The first one is Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. So again, these are actual averages of the posted wait time at each of these headliners. So your actual waits likely would have been significantly lower than these. So on August 11th, we had an average posted wait of 74 minutes at Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. On the 12th, that dropped all the way to 44 minutes. So for an average posted wait across the entire day of 45 minutes at Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, that's really, really low. That means your average actual wait was probably something like 30 minutes or less. That's crazy. That's awesome. Then on the 13th, that average posted wait went back up to 65 minutes, something slightly more normal. Was it just Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, though? No, of course not. So we see similar trend at Peter Pan's Flight. On the 11th, it had an average posted wait of 62 minutes. On the 12th, that party day, it dropped to 41 minutes. And then on the 13th, it went back up to 65 minutes. It actually matched Seven Dwarfs Mine Train on that day. So this is a little bit counterintuitive. If we had shorter hours, we would think more people would be trying to ride more rides in the same amount of time, you'd have higher waits. But really, everyone wants to get their money's worth, and so they feel like if they have to leave the park at 6, why would they do that if they could go the next day and stay in the park until 10 or 11? And so that's what gives you these low wait times. 2 more attractions to look at to just really get this in your head. The first one's Jungle Cruise. So on the 11th, Jungle Cruise had an average posted wait of 54 minutes, and on the 12th, that dropped to 25 minutes. This is almost unheard of for Jungle Cruise. It's had some of the highest posted waits of any attraction over the past several months. So this was a great day to go ride Jungle Cruise if that's your jam. Now on the 13th, that went back up to 43 minutes. Our last one is Space Mountain. So on the 11th, Space Mountain's average posted wait time was 49 minutes. That dropped to 22 minutes on the 12th. Again, crazy low, and then back up to 40 minutes on the 13th. So you're seeing here wait times sometimes cut in half or even more than that. And really, your actual wait times were even lower than that. And so that 12th day had really gloriously low waits for all of the headliners and other attractions in Magic Kingdom. We expect to see this same trend for the rest of the party dates throughout the year. That includes the Halloween party and the holiday parties towards the end of the year. So if you've got any Walt Disney World trips planned coming up now through the end of the year, this is going to be really important to pay attention to, and you might want to make sure you go to Magic Kingdom on these party dates specifically. Now let's assume that I've convinced you that you're going to go to Magic Kingdom on a party day. We're going to talk about your touring strategy for that day and how to take advantage of all of those low wait times. This means that we're going to do a lot of bouncing around through the map of Magic Kingdom, and whenever you've got maps of Walt Disney World that you need to walk through, we know the expert, and that's Brian. So I'm going to have Brian walk us through this.
All right, so where'd it go?
Well, at least I tried. Thankfully, we've always got me as the backup option, so I'll take us through our touring strategy, including those maps for a party day in the Magic Kingdom. First, let's talk about early entry. Not everyone's eligible for early entry. You can watch a previous video to see who is and the impact of early entry on wait times. But if you are, there are two attractions you should attempt to hit during early entry. Those are Peter Pan's Flight and Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. Peter Pan's Flight always gets those really high wait times in the middle of the day. It's also a short attraction, not exactly very thrilling, so it's something you want to get out of the way as early in the day as possible. You especially want to do it before Seven Dwarfs Mine Train during early entry, because frequently Seven Dwarfs Mine Train will have some operational issues that cause it to open up slightly later within the early entry window. So you're going to go to Peter Pan's Flight first, and then you'll hit Seven Dwarfs Mine Train after it's likely already come up for the day. Now on a regular day, doing this strategy would probably take you something like half an hour after early entry ends, so a full hour of park time, because Seven Dwarfs Mine Train gets really high waits. On a low crowd day, like a party day, you should be able to accomplish both of these in 45 minutes or less. So a lot of the regular park guests are still filtering in from Main Street, and you've already done 2 headliners. So these are your goals for early entry specifically. As we move forward into the rest of what I'm going to call still the early morning, because on party days, often Magic Kingdom will open at 7:30 for early entry. So you've done Peter Pan's Flight, you've done Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, and now it's still like 8:15. Still pretty early. For the rest of the morning, you want to start by going to Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh also gets higher wait times than a lot of other attractions, so it's good to get that done earlier in the day. After that point, though, you have sort of the rest of the early morning to do a lot of the other Fantasyland attractions and other nearby attractions. For this strategy, I'm specifically calling out the highest satisfaction attractions at Magic Kingdom. So Winnie the Pooh makes that list, so does Under the Sea, Meeting Princesses. It skips things like the Carousel and PhilharMagic. But you'll see later on in this strategy, you'll have time to do those things if they're important to you. But after we do Winnie the Pooh, the rest of the 4 attractions on this slide for our early morning have lower wait times, especially in the morning. So it doesn't really matter what order you do them in, and this is going to be weird for touring strategies because usually we're going to have step-by-step plans. For this one though, because it's a low crowd day and you'll have plenty of time and there's low crowds, you can do these in any order. And whatever makes sense for your party and where you're walking to, where you want to get your caffeine in the morning, you can hit these in any order. order. So the high satisfaction attractions in Fantasyland and nearby, Under the Sea, Meeting Princesses in Fairy Tale Hall, It's a Small World, and the Haunted Mansion. When you get all of those completed on one of these low crowd days, if you had early entry, it's still only going to be something like 10:15 or 10:30, and now you've done 2 big headliners and 5 other attractions, and it's only 10:30. Some people only do 7 attractions in an entire day, so we're already off to a good start. We still have time before lunch, though, so that's a good time to go over to Tomorrowland. You want to go to Space Mountain first when you're in Tomorrowland because it does peak a little later in the day, so it's good to get it out of the way around that 10:30 time. And then you have Buzz Lightyear and PeopleMover. Buzz Lightyear sometimes has longer waits. On a low crowd day, it's not going to be a big deal though. And PeopleMover typically should have no waits on a day like this, but it is a little bit of a longer attraction as you ride through Tomorrowland. You're going to get all of these done, and it's probably still only going to be 11:30 or 11:45. I'm going to call that a wrap on the morning, though, so that we can move forward to the afternoon. But you're going to have plenty of slack in this morning if it's a low crowd day like party days will be, so that you can do things like get your mid-morning snack or do some other attractions that are in these areas but don't quite break into that high satisfaction tier at Magic Kingdom. After lunch, we're going to move over to the left side of the park. So now we're hitting Frontierland and Adventureland. In our early afternoon, we want to go all the way to the left of the park into Frontierland. And you're going to start with Big Thunder Mountain and Splash Mountain. Again, the order here doesn't really matter. Wait times will probably be higher than anything else that you've experienced up to this point. They're still not going to be ridiculous or unmanageable, though. So you can do both of those, and then you'll head to Adventureland for Pirates of the Caribbean and Jungle Cruise. Again, you might have waits that are somewhere in the 20 to 30 minute mark for Jungle Cruise, but it's not going to be those hour plus long waits like you'll see on higher crowd days. So this is the entirety of our afternoon. And if you eat lunch around noon and then you do these 4 attractions, you're probably still going to be finished with them by 3 or 3:15. And on party days, you can often stay in the park until 6 p.m. And you've already done everything that's in that highest satisfaction range for Magic Kingdom. So you have some bonus time that you can fill in. What would you do with that bonus time? If you didn't have early entry, this is when you could go back to Peter Pan's Flight or Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. Now you're going here in sort of the peak hours of the afternoon, but really it's not going to be that bad. So we already saw data from August 12th, which was the first party of this year, and party guests can enter the park at 4 o'clock. So you would think that maybe wait times would start going up at 4 o'clock because party guests might want to ride some rides before the party activities happen. This wasn't the case on the 12th. So Seven Dwarfs Mine Train still had actual wait times of 30 or 31 minutes around 4 o'clock, 4:30. So even if you're hitting Seven Dwarfs Mine Train in those supposed peak hours, you're probably not going to have a terrible wait. So missing early entry, not as big of a deal as it is on a normal day. You also have time to re-ride your favorites. You can take some more time for entertainment, go see the Country Bears or the piano player at Casey's Corner, or you could snack more and enjoy your time. You just have a lot more time to not be worried about going from ride to ride to ride and building in some relaxing time into your day. Then what do you do once you're kicked out of the park? So the downside of going to the Magic Kingdom on a party day is you don't get to see the fireworks because those won't happen until later at night. So that's something that you are missing out on. So you could pair this party day Magic Kingdom strategy with actually going to the party. So then you would just stay in Magic Kingdom. You do have to purchase those additional tickets, but then you don't use the party time for riding rides, which is an option. You can use all of the party time to meet the characters, watch the entertainment, the parades, the fireworks. You will easily be able to fill up the entire evening without any rides, just doing the special activities. Or you could take the monorail to one of the resorts around the lagoon and eat dinner there, and then, bonus, you can watch the fireworks. You won't be close enough to see the projection show, but you'll see the actual fireworks if you watch from somewhere like the Contemporary or the Polynesian, and so then you get to still have a little bit of fireworks in your day, even though you took advantage of those low crowd hours at Magic Kingdom. Alternatively, you can hop to another park, go over to Epcot and see the fireworks there, or spend the evening in Disney Springs or your resort, and that makes it a really relaxing day so that you can hit a different park and go really fast and see a lot of attractions the next day too. And that's all we've got for this week's strategy. And that's on purpose. This is a low crowd day. Really, I want you to strategize which park you're going to go to on these party days, and then show you that you don't even need much of a strategy to be able to accomplish a lot on those days. It also gives us a format to be able to do more complicated strategies for more crowded days and scenarios in the future weeks. So tune back in next week and we'll go over another strategy for another day in the parks.